invented in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
So Wipf just looking to follow that shot, it looks like. Come down there, try to set up a deuce, potentially, if things work out. It looked like that was the call.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty good shot there from Team Carruthers, but maybe just a tiny bit deeper than they would have liked. So you won't be shot rock with this freeze, but you don't have to move that red very far to then bring it into play, potential multiple score here. Tiny bit heavy, but the angle there is really good. So they'll be pretty happy with that one from Team Wipf third, Cailey.
Yeah, looks like Reid's going to go all in on protecting what's in there now. I shouldn't say all in. This isn't a very dangerous spot yet, but looking at protecting the center line here and just maintaining his shot rock. Not much he can do with that yellow stone in the house, so I don't know that he has much of a choice.
Yeah, and he's shot, so he doesn't need to do much. Exactly. You might see him try to make a play if they were sitting one or throw a freeze, but given that he's shot rock, you just throw a guard and put the ball back in Team Wipf's court. I understand we were having maybe a little technical glitch when we first introduced ourselves, so we'll start over again. Welcome everybody to the Saville Shootout, live from the Saville Community Sports Center in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm Chelsea Carey, and I'm here with Ed Scimia, and we'll be giving you our thoughts on what's going on here tonight. Should be a good battle. Pretty good shot there from Catlin. Maybe a little longer than they wanted, but I think it does the trick. I don't think you can... It sort of looks visually like it undercurled, but that was the miss. If you overcurl it is what would have allowed Team Wipf to maybe chase it and make a play on that yellow. Where it stands, because it's so long, there's no angle there. You can't get through the hole and make contact with that yellow. So good result. Good sweep there for Catlin's.
Yeah, I would guess there's at most a rock width, which isn't going to be enough to do anything. He's looking at maybe peeling his own guard just to have access to his yellow rock now. Looking at other options as well, though.
I think they're worried about, or they're looking at whether or not it jammed. They're worried about it. It would actually be good for them if it jammed and stayed in the
just
house,
what you were saying.
They're looking at that angle.
Yeah, for the same reason that Reid may not want to have played the double peel earlier.
Yeah, if you can make both these guards go away and leave yourself second and third shot, it puts some pressure on Reid. I like this call.
Absolutely. Yeah, if the angle's there, this is an excellent call.
Even if it's not, I still think it's the right call, because you force Reid to maybe play the hit, and then you play a hit and roll or a draw, and all of a sudden you're sitting one buried around the center guard.
Sure. As you said, that works too.
Yeah, they hit a little thicker than they wanted to. I wonder if that would have changed the angle. I didn't have the overhead up there in time to check out what.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if there was what the situation was in terms of still drag eventually.
You're right, but still really good result there. So now decision time for Reid. You could throw a guard on this, but you better make it. You could throw this like any kind of a hit. If you manage to not touch your back one, that would be ideal.
Yeah, if you can hit this yellow thin, leave both reds, you'd be expecting to end up forcing most likely here, I would think. Although there are places for you to try to generate a deuce, but
Yeah, well, he's probably going around that stagger, but
exactly.
I'm thinking Reid thinks that he can probably get to that
Yep.
top 12 red rock with a soft waiter. So even if you see a perfect come around from Kenan Wipf, he would be able to access it with that short
Of
little
course.
run back. I think it's not easy, but it looks like it's probably there. And the only rock we really saw thrown on that side of the sheet curled like crazy. Now it was a draw, but still, so it looks like there's some movement over there. Sweeping this to curl.
Really hanging out there.
Oh dear.
Yep.
A little hang of the head there for Reid. Obviously was not what they wanted. Worst case scenario. So now for Team Wipf, it's really important to take advantage of that. You're not going to get a lot of misses like that out of Team Carruthers. So that's a bit of a gift, and you want to make sure you get at least 2 out of this now.
Absolutely. So where do you think the ideal rock placement is here? They're clearly not going to want to leave a double. Where is that you would leave a yellow rock here?
Yeah, I think you ideally want to show Reid not quite that whole back yellow. Because if you over curl this, if you get, say, across the center line on the top of the button, then he can hit and roll under you or into you, and then it might all go away. So I think you're looking kind of full 8, splitting the center line. It doesn't need to be fully buried. It just needs to be enough buried that he can't make a double.
Coming in, sweeping the hold, as you said, does not need to be buried, but they're going to be pretty. Yeah, I mean, you may be able to get those. What do you think? Is it possible to pop that second yellow?
I don't think you can throw enough weight to make the double, but I think if you throw it quiet, you could come off the backside of that second yellow and spin towards the top of the button. So that weight was perfect, but that definitely over curled for Kenan Wipf. Oh, it looks like he might be throwing this hard, so maybe they think there's enough space. If you skinny the guard, it's probably there. It's just a long way to push that yellow rock, but they obviously think it's there, or else they would be throwing softer weight at this.
Yeah, that high center guard makes this a much tougher shot. I mean, it wasn't an easy shot anyway. As you said, the amount of weight you have to throw is pretty high, but I hadn't considered that high guard actually makes the shot even a little bit more difficult here. But as you said, it must be there. I would trust Reid to.
Yeah, and that's, you see him tightening the ice up after his first one really didn't curl very much. So they're thinking that this is not going to do anything. They want to hit it basically right where Catlin's broom is. So they're expecting no curl, which makes sense with a heavier weight hit. Sweeping to curl now, trying to get Derek to get it to move it over there. Pretty good effort. I don't think you could have done a whole lot better than that. I guess you needed to push that rock another 3 or 4 feet. So I don't know, if it was me, I think I might have thrown that quiet and just tried to kiss off the back and spin into the top of the button. But I think he made that about as good as he could have. So, we're going to see. It's hard not to leave him a shot for 2. So we're going to see probably somewhere around a bumper or a board, depending which province you're from. Weight hit here just so they can control it, and then they can also shape it with the sweeping. They can hold it straight if they need to. They can get it to curl if they need to. You can really kind of play with the line as long as you're not much more than somewhere between a hack and a bumper.
Surprising how little this is moving even at this weight. We should hang on. No? Yes. All right.
Just barely.
Just hanging on there for deuce.
So that
All
will be
right.
2 in the first end for Team Kenan Wipf up on Reid Carruthers, and we'll be right back with you.
Gripper first.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it. Yellow.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, yeah.
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
All right, we are back. Team Carruthers versus Team Wipf. Team Wipf was able to take advantage of a uncharacteristic miss by Reid Carruthers in the first end and hang that crooked number up on the board. So now we're going to see a corner guard for Team Carruthers lead, Connor Negevin.
Well executed. Whiff going for the center guard here now, protecting the rock they threw in. Looks like top 8-ish, maybe biting the top 4. No need to get super defensive yet. Second end, right? I mean, he is up 2, but he's not going to just ignore the opportunity to steal entirely at this point with 7 ends left to play.
Yeah, I don't even think he's not really playing a steal, he's just playing a force. He'd be
Exactly.
very, very happy to force Reid Carruthers to a single point here. Arguably better than a steal.
Yeah. Getting a bite of that center line, and looks like Reid's going to play a little hit and roll, try to get rid of that rock in the house and use his corner guard at the same time.
Yeah, this is a really good shot if you make it, but you can't touch the guard. So this is an aggressive call. I'm a little surprised by this, to be honest. When you have the kind of sweeping these guys have, though, they're less afraid of that because they can just control it so much. You get and both Catlin and Derek are such good sweepers that you can kind of joystick this to some degree as it comes down the ice. So that's plays a factor into this call. But I don't.
Again, they're just not getting the curl they expect.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody signal that was a little bit more weight than they were hoping for. Somebody pointed up to the ceiling, which usually that's what that means. It would be, this is when you wish you had mics on them, right? But so my guess is that was just a little heavy. So if it was a little less weight, it might have got by there. But yeah, it's curling a ton with the draws, but it looks like when you up the weight at all, like as soon as you get to even a hack, it's running quite a bit straighter.
Well, that's a
Great shot there. That's he made that look a lot easier than that shot is. That's Team Wipf second, Michael Kenan. Absolute pistol. I wasn't sure they were going to be able to. I thought that they maybe missed the sweep on it, and then he just swept it right over there. Just kept rolling. That's a beauty. So now trouble again
Couldn't
here
place
for
it any better.
Team Carruthers, and I think you're going to see Reid switch now from a deuce to a blank. He's going to look for Derek to make a run double here, and he'll just run the rest of this end out most likely and take his blank and try again next end to set it up a little bit better. That's the thing about this, like one miss and all of a sudden the end completely changes on you, right? So
Yep.
good result there from Derek. Not perfect, but probably as good as he could have done. And the big thing there was leaving that corner guard. You just didn't want to straight peel that. You wanted to leave your shooter somewhere so that you have some kind of leg to stand on. If it's not a blank, it's potentially now still a deuce. It keeps that hope alive.
Keeps the non-hammer team a little honest too, right? They have to respect the threat of the deuce in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Puts a little bit more. And again, you're in a game like this. You're looking at a young Kenan Wipf's team is incredibly talented, and they're a young team who's going to go very, very far. They're going to a World Championship this year, U25, I believe, and they play out of the University of Calgary Dinos curling program. So super, super talented, but young and less experienced. And you're standing on the sheet looking at a guy like Reid Carruthers, who you probably watched win the Brier when you were 10 years old, and that plays into it too a little bit. Where when you're playing a younger team as the older, more experienced team, you kind of want to keep that pressure on them at all times as much as you can, because their collars will start to tighten a bit because they're playing against guys that they literally would have grown up watching. So it's just one of those little mental things that you're aware of as Team Carruthers in this situation.
Well, for the second time in the end, Team Carruthers here has a chance to play a little hit and roll behind a corner guard and then be back to playing for a deuce potentially.
Yeah, for Team Wipf, that was not the right side miss. If you're going to miss that guard, you wanted it to be on the other side of that rock for that exact reason. Now, if you miss it on the other side and Reid hits and rolls, he's rolling into the open and it's no threat to you because it leaves him the roll behind the corner is why you would have wanted to, if you had to miss it on the other side. Really nice shot here by Derek.
Beautiful.
Probably see maybe a third of that at most, but they'll know this path, I think, so they'll look to play it with probably a quiet weight, and if they chip that guard off, they wouldn't be sad about that either.
Sure.
The key to a shot like this is playing it with quite enough weight that if you do chip the guard, your shooter rolls into the house, because again, that puts the pressure back on Reid. He's either got to chase it or make sure his two rocks stay spread out, or suddenly it turns from a deuce or a blank into a force really quick. Sweeping this to get it to curl now. Again, we're just, as soon as the weight goes up, we're just not seeing it. Yeah. It keeps surprising them.
Not remove it. Oh boy.
That's not ideal. So that was probably the weight he wanted to throw, but you just need to hit a little bit more of that rock and it goes out. So I don't think that was lighter than they wanted. It just, they were, obviously planning to hit more of it than that.
It looks like Reid's calling a soft weight hit on the one that stuck around the back 8 there, just to set up the, you could potentially be threatening even more than a deuce, although Wipf will presumably play pretty carefully after this. I doubt they're in any mood to take many chances here.
No, I agree.
So you were talking about they are a team that played together in the college ranks. Now, I'm from the United States, and I did some coaching for college curling here. I think it's a very different scene in Canada than the United States, because in the United States, it's mostly, I would say, 95% of people who come into college curling have never curled before.
Yeah,
it's a developmental program. Yeah,
for sure, different in Canada, but it took a bit of time for it to grow as far as curling goes as a varsity sport. It didn't exist at the University of Calgary until 2 years ago, when it was sort of started up by a couple curlers you might have heard of, Jocelyn Pearman and Brett Gallant. they're kind of running the program there, and it was a shame that there wasn't a program before that, because in Alberta especially, like you see all these guys in the green and white and yellow jerseys with the bears and stuff on them. That's the University of Alberta's curling program is extremely good, extremely good. They win all kinds of CIS titles. They win World Junior Championships. They produce some of the best players in the country. Brendan Botcher, for example, comes to mind. So theirs has been so good and so competitive that it was sort of like, we're only 3 hours down the road. Why don't we have anything in Calgary? So good on Joss and Brett to kind of get that going, and they've already been very successful. This Team Wipf is actually coached by one of Jocelyn's former teammates and mine, Lainey Peters. And they've had an incredible run, very successful, and they're getting prepared. They're coming to the Points Bet Invitational in Calgary in a couple of weeks, and they're also going to a World Championship. So, really cool to see, and the speed with which they've had some success. But yeah, it's different. Like, all of these people were competitive curlers before they went to university and started joining this thing. So yeah, slightly different scene in Canada for sure.
So as Reid sets up for the hopeful deuce here, very likely deuce. So they got their invitational. Their invitation to the Points Bet Invitational through the Next Gen event, the U25 event.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. I think they're pretty pumped. Which rightfully so. Like, how cool is that? Especially it's at home for, like, they all play it in Calgary and live in Calgary, so it's at home for them. So then now all your family gets to come and everything else. Like, I can't even imagine getting to do that when I was these guys' age. I did not. I was not that good yet when I was their age.
I'm imagining you're at that event as well.
We are, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit earlier. Is that your first event?
No, it's our second. We're playing in one in Winnipeg, a smaller one in Winnipeg before that, called the Mother Club event the weekend before, just to get some reps in.
Sure. Trying to get a roll just to make this something of a challenge, but it did pop out the other side, so this should be a pretty straightforward deuce here. Is this the last, or am I a rock ahead here? Are they not yet throwing last rocks?
I think you might be a rock ahead. I'm not certain. I was talking about Points Bet and about TV.
Yeah, I know. In that case,
I mean, if it was the last rock, he would have put his broom down already. So
yes, exactly. So I think we know the answer now.
Yeah, so
I'm sure he's hitting it.
So it turns out to be a pretty good result, because it's like, you got to be careful not to leave a double back here for Reid, although it's going to be really flat if it's there. But if you roll towards that corner guard at all, you might leave Team Wipf out. So not a bad result, and a really good attempt at a reasonably long roll there from Kenan. So pretty good shot. Would have liked it to roll a hair less, obviously, but not the easiest look for Reid. That doesn't look that buried to us, but from the hack, because you got to remember you're coming from closer to the center line. From the hack, I bet he's got probably a third of that. So just the guards in your line of vision, just that kind of little stuff. And then we've also seen these run straight with a little bit more weight. So some things to consider, which is for Team Wipf is kind of all you could ask for when it looked like you were going to give up an easy wide open deuce. Like, at least make him think a little bit. Another indication that the weight's a little bit big there from Connor. The broom up in the air, and now he'll get on it to try to curl it. He seemed to like it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there has to be room there to.
Yeah, it looks like it to me. I mean, it's not easy, but I think it's there. It's like a half rock double, and you can see plenty more than that.
There's no real reason not to go for it. There's no benefit to hitting the shot rock, because you're going to give up a deuce anyway, most likely, if you only remove one. So.
Yeah, for sure. So as long as you get by this guard, which it shouldn't really be in the way. If you were hitting the guard, I think you're flashing this back rock anyway. So yeah, right. No risk, and this could turn everything around pretty quick here for Team Wipf. So big shot to potentially steal some momentum away from Reid Carruthers.
Pop it on top of there. Oh, did they get it over far enough, or do we think Red's
It's
still
close.
counting? Yeah.
Well, if they're not sure, then we can't be sure. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, nothing wrong with our eyes, or at
Well,
least
yeah.
this doesn't prove there's anything wrong with our eyes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you would throw to. You're going to be throwing. I suppose if you think you're only outcounted by a fraction, you could throw something very, very light into that yellow.
yeah, I think
See if
I
you
think
get
we'll
reduced.
know
Yeah.
we'll know what they think by Reid's call. If they think it's them, they'll
Yeah.
throw a draw. If not, they'll probably come through that hole with like a back line. You only got to move that thing a couple inches, and
An
they've
inch,
seen that path.
you know.
They've thrown this path quite a few times now.
Yes.
Yeah, it must be they're really looking at it. But yeah, the little tap is tricky. So if you think you're shot, you really don't want to have to throw it if you could avoid it. But I don't think that because the force is so bad from a scoreboard management standpoint, I don't think that they'll take a risk. I think if they think it's close enough and they're not confident, that they'll probably try to make sure they're getting to. Asking the front end now about the through the hole.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense, that line of thinking. I mean, especially in any case, but especially having given up a deuce in the first end down two. I mean, you really don't want to just take one here.
Yeah, I think
if you're not sure, yeah.
I think they might not play this if they weren't down 2-0.
Right.
But again, this is the kind of weight that you can really, really play with it with the sweepers. And as long as you're not heavy, you barely have to touch that yellow and you'll get your two. So it's precise, but it's not super precise. And if you miss it on the wide side and hit your red, you'll get one that way still anyway, probably. So not a ton of risk here, I don't think. You just don't really want to hit the guard because then you might lose the measure, and that would be not great.
Yeah.
This looks like it's got some curling to do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get it moving.
No, they like it.
By the guard.
They're going straight now, so I think he's got it.
Yeah, this looks good coming in.
Very nice touch there from Reid Carruthers. So we are all tied after two ends, 2-2. Team Wipf will have the hammer playing 3.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
All right, third end. We saw the guard go up there from Team Carruthers, tied without the hammer, playing the third end. They're looking to set up a force, ideally. did miss the center line, but because the score is tied, we're not going to see any sort of play on that center line guard from Team Wipf. They're just going to play the come around here. Team Wipf lead is Max Cinnamon.
Leaves a little stagger there. It looks like Reid's just going to come around everything, of course.
Yeah, just a tiny bit higher than they probably wanted there. It sort of acts as a second guard for Reid. If that was a little deeper, this call would be different. He'd be playing a freeze or a tap or something like that. But
Sure.
given that it's just the wrong amount of buried. If it was a little bit more open and you could run it in, you wouldn't see this call. And if it was a little bit more buried, you probably wouldn't see this call. But it basically is a second center for Reid, and he'll be looking to put some pressure on here in the third end. It's been a very kind of a strange game so far, back and forth, where it looks like one team's in good shape early and then one miss kind of turns it all around. And then at the end of that end, we saw a good roll by Kenan Wipf to almost take it away, the deuce, and then a really nice touch shot by Reid, his bread and butter, with that little soft tap weight, and well swept and well judged, and made it perfect. So it's been interesting to watch so far.
Yeah, a little bit, I think, at first struggle with, as you said, the very weight-sensitive nature of the ice from what we can see. But I think they've made the adjustments. You know, as you said, anything up past like hack seems to be holding fairly straight, but the draws are curling like crazy. But in the second end in particular, we saw both teams make some shots where they really, the sweepers were really able to shape the shots for their teammates in that in-between weight, either between a draw or a like backline to less than hack weight that we saw maybe 3 or 4 shots last end thrown like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty good ice for the carve. Seems to be reasonably effective. It also helps that, these teams are very good at it, but, certain ice conditions are more conducive to that than others. And so right now, with that little bit of extra curl, typically what happens at most events, and historically at this event, I've played it a number of times, and usually it'll get straighter and straighter as we go here. So tomorrow you might not see as many of those shots made, because it just, as it gets straighter, your carve gets less effective. But right now, with the amount of curl they have on the softer weight stuff, they seem to be able to really get it moving if they need to. Well, they overcarved this one.
Yeah, gonna have to play it off the top yellow, and yeah.
That's frustrating for Derek, because he threw that really well and deserved to make it, and just a little bit too much back and forth. It's hard with the carve, because that's the worst case scenario, when you feel like such an idiot when you overcarve it like that and then just rub. You have to be so much more patient than you think you need to be, and it can be really tricky. And it also, again, it changes from week to week based on the ice conditions, how much you can do it, and at what point, where the break point is on the ice, and all these kinds of things factor into when you make that switch as the line caller and have them switch to the carve. So unfortunately there, had Connor on it for not even for long, had him just on it for a second, and that was enough to crash it into that top yellow one. It's not the result they were looking for. They won't be happy with that. Team Wipf going to hit, of course, this open rock.
Bit of a conversation here, but it looks like Reid wants to play something on the rock on the top of the forefoot.
I think Reid initially wanted to play the open one, and
yes,
the rest of the guys are looking at this, the long run back, or Or the slash in they looked at too, but I think that just jammed. So they're
Yeah.
looking at maybe running this long guard, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about too. Is could you just run that? I mean, is it possible to? I mean, I suppose it depends where you run it into the top yellow. There are maybe ways to get both. At
Oh, you
least
could
simplify
definitely
the situation.
you could definitely make it and get both. It's by far the best result, but it's also a
Yes.
25-foot run back. So
Yes.
it's just a matter of how much risk you're wanting to take here with a shot
Right.
like that. I mean, Derek is great at them. You have the right guy in the hack for it, but I like this call better. I don't think you need to panic
Mm-hmm.
quite that much yet. If that was a tighter guard, that would be I would have a different
Of
opinion.
course.
But that guard is just so long that's
No, that's,
two all or nothing, I think, at this point in the end. Just get another one in there, tap some stuff around. You got lots of time to make doubles and stuff. I think that's it can be one of those things where, like I said, you come into the game and you respect Team Wipf, which you in theory should win the game, and so then there's a different kind of pressure on you when you start to miss a few shots and things aren't really going your way, and then they overcarve Derek's first one, and sometimes your tendency is to want to solve it too quickly. Like you just
Sure.
want to well, if I just make this run back double, then the whole end will be fixed, and that's true. But if you miss it, it just compounds and gets exponentially worse. So sometimes it's just checking your emotions and going, logically, if I were the person watching this game, what would I play? Because it seems obvious to us from here that the run back double is a bit of an unreasonable call, but I've been where they are, and I know how their brains are working right now with just, you just want to fix the fact that you're frustrated a bit by the results that you've had so far and the result you had on the shot right before that.
Absolutely, I think that's a lesson that teams all the way down to the club level can implement, because we see that all the time at pretty much every level of curling. That sort of the correct game plan is to be a little more patient, solve your problems over time using multiple shots, but the temptation is there to just try to fix everything all at once and feel good about it.
Yeah, it's exactly. Like it just makes you instantly feel, it's that instant gratification thing, but which is great if it works, but your odds of making it aren't very good, then it's probably
Right.
not going to work, and then your frustration just grows. So it's just a tough one. But I think they cooler heads prevailed there, and they made the right call. Really nice shot here though by Team Wipf as well. Just tapped that right. He made it look easy, and it wasn't that easy. He tapped it out of there and made it look like nothing. So a bit of trouble here now for Team Carruthers.
Yeah, Wipf sitting 3. Carruthers has a lot of options, but they all come with risk here. I mean, when there's that many rocks in play that are counting, you don't have a hammer. I think he's. Well, let's put it the ball in your court here. What would you be looking at here? Okay, well, he's looking at maybe let's just get rid of one and try to get something tucked underneath here,
yeah,
which makes a lot of sense.
The issue that they're having is that any double they play jams on their own rock. So you can't even chase any of the doubles because they jam on that back red, and that's the only reason they're not sitting 4 right now. Team Wipf isn't. So I think because of that, because of how bad the angles are for Team Carruthers right now, this is the only option. Plus, if you make this roll well, you're probably, I don't know if you'll be shot, but you'll at least be second and buried. And then that could turn it around pretty quick. So again, I think this is the smart call. But Connor on this early to get it to curl. So maybe a little wide or a little extra set there from Catlin. Well, it's trying.
May just get to nose though, yeah. So sitting second, open, and now Team Wipf is going to try essentially the same shot that Team Carruthers was just going for, right? We're going to try to hit roll under, be set 1, 2, 3 with the.
I don't think you want to roll all the way under, because if you roll all the way under, you'll see Reid Carruthers freeze to that back one, and if he makes it, your whole end's gone. So you just want to roll 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches in, like not fully buried. Just show him an edge still, but enough that he can't make the double.
Right.
Like half a rock, maybe.
Perfect.
Like I actually think you're better off to nose this than you are to roll too far.
Sure, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Smart side miss is just the nose, because again, he can't throw the double because it jams. So let him try whatever he wants. You're still in pretty good shape.
Right.
If you over roll and he makes the freeze, you're forced. Like your whole end is gone.
Yeah, well, as you said earlier, that red rock in the back 8 is essentially preventing everything. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, this is a terrifying shot to throw, but
it is.
It's, if you make it, it all changes. Is he looking at a double? He might be. Looks like he's gonna. It's essentially the same result, but he's gonna try to hit and roll his way there.
Right, and I think that's partially because there are 3 rocks.
Oh, that's
counting
exactly
right now, right?
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
Eliminating a yellow
Of
rock.
course,
It's
it is.
a harder
It's a tougher
shot.
shot
It's a harder shot
yeah.
to make, yeah, but it's a little bit less risky because at least you're killing a yellow. He might be trying to make the double. He's throwing this pretty hard. Really good shot there from Calvin.
Yeah.
Now the question is, if you try to make a play on that red, does it kiss the yellow? Because I think it might, and if it does,
It's hard not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like it would be hard to get it through there, especially with the red guard. I mean, I don't know. I think you're going to hit it thin enough where you're going to
That's
get
just-
some rub off the yellow and straight.
yeah, it's hard to tell with from this angle, but
Of course.
if it does, which it looks like it might, then it's a perfect result for Reid, as it turns out. Kai coming down to have a look here.
You know, hard to say even on the overhead. Maybe you can just get it under the
Yeah,
yellow.
I think you might, if you hit
Yeah.
3/4 of that, you might be able to squeak it between the two of them, but it's hard to tell.
And it would certainly be a very precise shot.
Oh, yes, definitely.
There's not room for error on that shot.
No, and if it kisses the top one, it's bad. But even if it clips the back one, it's bad because you're killing your own rock and you're rolling into the
Yeah.
open. And now, if you leave a double for Reid back, like again, your whole end is gone. So, really good result there on Catlin's. I think they were trying to roll it a little further or kind of into the side of that yellow, but I think where it ended up is almost as good as he could have done. Carving this the whole way. It's close. Oh, what a great shot.
That's a beautiful shot. And I think leaves them 5th. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. That red one in the back 8 probably not going anywhere, but yeah. 1, 2, 3, and do they have enough room to play this the double on the top 2 yellows perhaps if they want to?
Oh, yeah, they definitely can. I was
Yeah.
looking to see if they could make the triple, but I'm not sure.
Ooh,
I think it might be there.
squeezing
But
it off the second yellow?
yeah, but I think the guard might make that not there. But I think the double they could probably make. It's not easy. You'd have to get by that guard reasonably tight, but I think it's there. And even if you just rolled and tapped that side yellow and sat first or like probably only second, but still you're second and you're buried. It's a pretty good shot. I don't know that you have much choice. Yeah, if the guard wasn't there, I think maybe you could make the triple. But I don't think with it there, because I think you'd have to throw the outturn to make it. I don't think you could do it with the in. Oh, he doesn't like it. I think that was just a question of the amount of ice that he had.
Adjusting the broom, yeah.
Yeah. Again, new dynamic with Reid and Catlin, right? So they're probably still figuring that out. This is, I believe, their first event, so know each other very well, obviously, as competitors over the years, but wouldn't have ever played together. So there's a whole learning curve with communication and the wording that you use and how you talk to each other and what gets said when and who leads the conversations, and all of that takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out when you've got a new player, especially when it's the relationship between the back end players.
Mm-hmm.
close. Connor on it to curl a little bit. I think he's got it.
I think he got it. Yeah.
Very nice. And does end up staying shot rock. So really good result there from Reid.
And no choice but to play something on this red and roll out to the open, right?
Yeah, I don't think
I mean,
so. You got to sit two. So you just try to roll to a place where the double is either not possible or at least really hard. And,
Sure.
And hope that you get a miss out of Reid on the double attempt. Max Cinnamon on this to try to get it to move. It's got to curl a bit. He's close. He's going to make it, but is his shooter going to stay? It does,
Not a bad
actually.
place to leave it, yeah.
That's a really good place to leave it because it brings the potential jam into play if Reid tries the double. Yeah, I like that better. That would be my thought, I think. Just try to get a little low. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to play the double now, you have to come pretty flat and get that yellow out.
Yeah.
The second yellow you hit out straight back. So, yeah, you did. That definitely raises the level of difficulty on the shot for sure.
The challenge that is potentially going to be facing Team Wipf, though, is that anything inside, and even if he's on the nose, then you might be able to get to the nose of it. But any inside roll here, he doesn't even have to go far, and then it sets up the jam, which is what Catlin, you just saw him indicate. So you won't be able to get to anyway because you'll come down and tap it, but it'll just jam on one of those back ones. There's just a wall of red rocks back there, which could come in very handy for Team Carruthers if this shot is made.
Yeah, you successfully avoided or took the double away or made it hard enough to avoid it, but you've left this other shot that very likely leads to a force.
Right. Derek on this right out of Reid's hand. Oh, there we go. We're okay.
It's on now. Ooh.
Oh, I think it might have rolled too far.
I think yellow's just one. And just a draw for two. I was getting ready to talk about whether they were going to have to use that yellow in the top 12 to try to play something and remove two rocks to get a deuce. No, it's just going to be a draw, I think.
Well, straight draw for two. Again, that 1 second of hesitation. They had Derek on that right out of his hand, so it must have been maybe a hair tight, and then as soon as he eased up, it was just gone. So it's good. The ice is demanding a lot of precision from the players, which is what you want. Unfortunately for Team Carruthers, they've just kind of been on the wrong side of the inch a little bit with it.
Mm-hmm.
Really big shot here for Kenan. These are ones that, again, I mentioned it in the first end. You really have to sort of take a second and make sure that you're in a good headspace to take advantage of this, because when you don't sort of see it coming, you think you're going to have to throw a really hard shot, and all of a sudden it's not a really hard shot. It seems like it should be a good thing, and it is, as long as you get mentally prepared for it, but it can mess with your head a bit because you're prepared to throw this other one, and now it's this one, and you're like, oh, now I just have to draw the 8 foot, and you take it too lightly.
Yep. Yeah, you mentally ease off and lose
Exactly,
a little focus, but not a problem here.
Not a problem at all.
He throws it right to the pin, just about.
Team Carruthers taking a quick look to make sure that it's 2. And it is. So 2-point lead once again for Team Wipf coming into the 4th end.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back. We've had a battle of the deuces so far in this game. Been trading them every end thus far, with Team Kenan Wipf out of Calgary, leading Team Reid Carruthers out of Winnipeg 4-2. So we're going to see Team Wipf for the first one in the house here, just into the full 8-foot, and I imagine you'll see Reid Carruthers run up there to throw a corner guard.
So the game plan should be the same as in the second end, correct? We're going to watch Carruthers play hard for the deuce or take a blank, and Wipf looking for a 1 for anyone.
Absolutely. I think if you're Team Wipf, in this case, you would prefer probably to see a blank here, because if you could, even if you give up 2 and 5, then you have the hammer in the even ends. So
Sure.
in a perfect world, not in a perfect world, I mean, you'd rather a force than anything, but if you had to choose between a deuce and a blank, you would, I think, prefer a blank, only because it's an even end.
Particularly as we're reducing the number of ends left, that becomes more important, much more important now than it would have been in the second end, for instance.
Absolutely. Well, and then even more important in 6. So yeah, I don't think scoreboard management, there's that much to it in the first 2 or 3 ends.
Right.
But now that you start to get towards the back half of the game, it becomes much more a factor now, and it will only become more and more a factor as we get closer to the end of this game. Really good shot there from Connor. So now, because of the 5-rock free guard zone, you still can't peel that corner guard, which is why you used to, in the 4-rock free guard zone, you would have seen Reid Carruthers throw a second guard there, because otherwise they would be peeling a guard no matter what. So you wouldn't ever see him throw a come around, because then they would just come up and peel it. Now that you can't, you see that play a lot more, where instead of throwing the second guard, you just come around the existing guard, because if you make it good and it's buried, then neither rock can be hit. So then it forces the team who's leading and doesn't have the hammer to throw a second guard, which feels like a very aggressive thing to do. but it's sort of the only option you have in the 5 rock wheel, so you just see them stack the middle. That's closer together than they would have liked those to be. They were hoping that would be a long guard just over the hog line, because this is going to make the double peel much easier for Reid.
Yeah, so what you're saying there is that by throwing around and leaving those 2 rocks they can't hit and already having one in the house, as you said, it leaves them almost forced to throw another center guard, and you're dragging them into a more aggressive end than they want to play. You're dragging them into the kind of end you want to play down to here.
Yeah, which is what the 5 rock free guard zone has done. And now that buried rock around the corner guard means that the deuce is in play this whole end, unless they make some kind of run back or somehow kill that red rock. But that deuce generally stays in play the entire end, which, as the team without the hammer, makes you very nervous. It's just always there, because it could also turn into a 3 pretty easy. You just feather a guard on one around the center line, and now they're sitting one buried behind the corner and one partially buried behind the center and throwing, and it becomes a 3 really quick. So that play around the corner guard is very, very, very effective. Not quite the result they were looking for Team Carruthers there for Derek. I think we're looking to hit that on the other side, actually. Or at least would have wanted to roll his shooter a little bit further. Those aren't quite staggered, but they're not far off of it, and they're closer to the center line than Reid would like them to be right now. So for Team Wipf, going to look to come around this. They really got to go to get this by, though. Diving towards that guard. Oh, what a great sweep.
Just got by, papered it.
Yeah, still unfortunately a little bit light, but great sweep just to get it by. I thought they were going to tick that. Yeah, so this is where I was just saying, where this could turn from a 2 to a 3 really quick. This is it.
As you're saying, now we're going to be playing for 3 if we bury one here, and there's a lot of pressure on the team without hammer this early, to know that there are 2 buried hammer rocks away from the center.
The good news for Team Wipf is that it is so early in the end. They've still got some time to get out of it, but that's how quick that corner guard play can turn from a 2 into a 3. One half shot, not even a miss. That's not a miss. It's just not quite perfect. It's a 2 out of 4, and now it's potentially a 3. This one's hanging out a little bit. They're trying to get it to curl in there, but it's going to end up at least partially open. Probably almost half a rock or so.
Interesting. It looks like he's looking at the double peel that might catch the buried red rock.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not sure I really like peeling those rocks unless it was going to. So that's my guess. Is that he thinks it might. I like that better.
Yeah, peeling this one ensures the end. At worst, it doesn't get any worse for you. You've got access to the rocks.
Yeah, I think this is a smart call. You could make, they're looking to try to make the run back ideally, but if you just miss it and roll to the center, it's pretty good. Oh, is it going to get out? Oh, I mean, it's still wide open, so it accomplishes the same thing, but that's a tough break for Cailey. That's a really great throw and almost an absolute pistol. We're going to come around the wide side for Reid here. Again, doesn't have a whole lot of choice but to throw this. And if you make it good, you're probably still keeping that that 3 hope alive. It's probably never more than 3 because for Kenan Wipf, he can always just hit that open one on the side there and hold them to 3. Hopefully for Team Wipf it doesn't come to that, but they're going to have to go on this one too.
Looks like we got just enough to count third rock there.
Yeah, I just wonder if the ice is changing on them a little bit. They don't seem worried about those early, and both teams kind of got fooled there with, seemed like the weight just kind of came off all of a sudden. So, it could be, sometimes the ice at this rink starts out really, really fast and beautiful, and then eventually starts to kind of flatten out a little bit. This is a bit early for it to happen, but it just makes me wonder because it's 2 in a row we've seen, and might just be that spot because they were both on a similar line with that intern coming home. But just keep an eye on that as the game goes on here.
And of course, Wipf here going to hit the open one, as you said before. We're making sure we're not giving up more than 3, no matter what. Even if this is not a full make, right? We're gonna. Yeah,
but this is early to do it for that reason. But because it was available for a hit and roll buried, I like that call. If you couldn't hit and roll buried and shot there, then I think you would have seen them make a play because they could see part of both of those other 2 rocks. So that's more for like on Kenan's last one. If that rock is still there and they're in trouble, then you just hit that one and give them their 3. So you wouldn't do that on Kai's if that was your reasoning. But because it was there and they were able to hit and roll for shot, and he made it absolutely perfect. What a great shot.
Yeah, beautiful.
Not out of trouble yet, but that's a step in the right direction for Team Wipf. So Catlin going to look to make a play on this. If he just taps it on a little bit of an angle here and leaves his shooter where he can see all of it, then puts the pressure back on Team Wipf because he could run that shooter back onto any of their rocks that are behind it. So probably just a kind of back 4-way here.
Sure. Yeah, we want to leave our red rock somewhere where it's usable at any point later in the end, right? If there's a reason you need to,
Exactly. The big thing here is not where you tap the back rock to, it's where your shooter is.
Right. Yeah, I think the temptation, again, at the club level, I see a lot. You really want to try to get rid of that yellow rock or move it, and that's just not necessary at this point at all. In fact, that's a really nice place to leave this.
Yeah, that one,
no, it did actually got underneath. No, it did. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at the over.
Yeah, it got underneath. So they won't be happy with that. That's not the result they want, because that, for right now, basically takes their other 2 red rocks out of play, because now that back yellow is second shot and kind of triple guarded. So not the result at all that they were looking for there for Catlin. That just overcurled on. The weight looked like it was pretty close, but he wanted to hit that kind of a mirror image of where he hit it. He hit it probably 7/8 low, and he wanted to hit it 7/8 high to leave his shooter out in the open. So Team Wipf getting some breaks here. That was a great shot by Kai McCauley, and a pretty big break there on that shot from Catlin. Thank everybody for tuning in to our coverage here, and hope you're enjoying this. It has been a great game, super entertaining to watch. But if there's another game on this draw that you're interested in, I think they would have all started now. They do a staggered start time with these ones, but all of them are live on Curling Stadium. You can go to YouTube and Curling Zone, and you'll have a whole list of them there. You can also watch the men's and women's event happening out in Oakville now. They've got one sheet stream from there too, the Stu Cells out in Oakville. So lots of great coverage this weekend and great curling to watch, which we're very appreciative of.
So as you were saying, and where you leave those red rocks staggered like that and unusable, essentially, at least to play onto the back yellow, not ideal. But this is still anything but a simple end for Wipf if they want to try to get anything out, if they want to avoid giving up 2 or more, because
right now you're in really good shape.
Easy to get rid of.
Right now you're in really good shape not to give up 2 or more, but you feel like you're walking on eggshells a little bit. I'm not sure what the call is. I wonder if he's trying to draw through the hole here, maybe.
That was my next question, because given the amount of rocks in play and the number of red rocks in the house, what is the game plan here to make sure you keep your?
Yeah, I think he's trying to draw right through the hole. You can't really make a play on any of the reds. The reds are sitting in a good spot for you right now, which sounds strange because there's 3 or 4 of them in the house, but they're your friends right now, and so there's making a play on any of them isn't going to help you. So he's just trying to sit either like he's not even worried about shot rock would be great, obviously, but second or third would play just as well. Little rub, but not terrible. Does move that Team Carruthers rock out a hair, but I think they already had access to it to tap it if they wanted to anyway, so I don't think that hurts them.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at for them as their best shot at, trying to play for a deuce or anything here in this end, and maybe it made it a little simpler, but it was already there, I think, at least at the weight they were going to throw anyway.
Yeah.
You could look at moving this one too, which would perhaps give you access to your other red. Although that one is mostly buried, the one on the right side of our screen, not the overhead, but looking from the hack. Saw them pointing at it, but that's again, as you said, at the low weights they are moving, but that's tricky.
Yeah, but if you touch it at all, then you also open up the opportunity for yourself to run your own back on, not run it back with any kind of weight, but you could throw bumper. Yes. And make the even if you just chisel that and it doesn't move into a great spot, then you probably are going to see a guard from Kenan Wipf, which then would allow you to throw a tap. It leaves you both sides open.
Yeah, you open up a second option for you.
Yeah, if you throw this tap now and you don't make it, then you don't really have another great option for your second point. But it looks like I just think that little chisel on the right hand side, as we see it here now, looks really hard. So I think at this point, if you read, you can sit 2 buried with this, and then it brings your 3 back into play. But you're probably, as long as you don't get score less than 2, you're okay. You want the third point, and you were set up for it. So obviously that's what they're hoping for. But you need to make sure you at least get 2. Connor on this to get it to curl. Looks pretty close.
There's a range of angles here they can use. That should be good. Yeah, that's buried behind several rocks. Because I'm not sure you can... Maybe you can use that rock in the top 8. I was going to say I'm not sure you can, but maybe there is a way to slip one through there. I mean, that seems really high difficulty, but unless they're maybe looking at coming in off now. Now they are. Yeah. A few options here.
Yeah, it's really thin off the side one to get underneath your own yellow, but it might be worth playing. I also do think you could come through the hole, which is what they're looking at now.
Yeah.
With kind of a soft weight and play a tap on yellow onto red on the button there and be sitting 1 very buried.
Yeah. And even if you don't make it perfectly, you may very well be in a position to make it a very difficult deuce and potentially force if you leave it a little light or you don't get quite the angle you're looking for.
He just threw this, so they'll have a pretty good idea. Obviously, he's going to throw a little bit more weight this time, but they'll have a pretty good idea what to expect with this. The curl a little. Oh.
Okay.
It would have been so good if they got it by. It worked out okay, but I think Reid might have a
Just
shot
right.
here for, yeah, just that tiny little kiss. And they got it by the long guard. It was the top 12 foot
Yeah.
one that they touched.
Can you get to the inside? I mean, to any point where you can just remove that yellow.
The problem with getting to the inside is you got to throw it quiet, but you can't throw it quiet because
Yeah,
it's
there's
hard
no
on the edge of the forefoot.
So you look the other way, and then, I mean, can you? Oh my goodness, slip it through that hole and hold on. I don't know how you could, if you could do both, but maybe to get two, you could push it through. Maybe you can actually. If it's there, it's a hell of a shot. If it's there for three. You know, we're looking at other things anyway. So.
So it looks like instead, and I think this is the only way you could do it, if you just throw it hard through the hole, then even if you kill your back one, you're still sitting two. So that's an acceptable solution. And I just don't think you can, you just can't throw quiet weight because you can't get through the hole with quiet weight because of the stagger. It's staggered the wrong way. So smart call here. On around the curl.
Oh, they got it through, and they got it for.
Too. Oh, he moved it
may
too
it still
far.
only be for two, but still an incredible shot.
Incredible
Great
shot, but they'll be frustrated with that.
Yep.
I didn't think you could do that with that kind of weight. I didn't think you could get low enough to punch it too
I
far, but
thought that was a shot for two all day, and I mean, and it ends up being two, of course.
yeah.
But,
Regardless, great shot by Reid Carruthers, and we have once again the battle of the deuces and a tie game going into the fifth end.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Crafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Welcome back to the Saville Shootout, presented by Curling Stadium, coming to you from Edmonton, Alberta. I'm Chelsea Carey, and I'm here with Ed Scimia. We have an absolute battle of a game going so far. So far, everyone's conversion rate is 100%. Nothing but deuces all around. So
yeah, just a great shot by Reid to keep that up there at the end of the fourth.
Yeah, that was a crazy end. That was a lot of fun to watch. There were so many rocks in play and people navigating all these holes. And then Reid, and I mean, I thought if he made it through the hole, he was probably getting 3. I thought he might get 2 the other way if he hit it on the nose and jammed it on his back one. He would have got 2 that way. I didn't think he could possibly get low enough to punch that far enough to only get 2, but a great shot nonetheless, and kept the deuce streak alive. So it's a bit of a battle of whoever's going to blink first.
In terms of game plans here, what are we looking at? We assume Wipf will be playing for a blank or a deuce or better if that's what sets up for them, but probably a blank primarily.
Yeah, a blank would be ideal. The problem with the 5 rock free guard zone is it makes it a little bit tough sometimes. But yeah, if they got to pick any results, they would pick the blank. But you'd gladly take a deuce. You just don't. I mean, you don't really want to be forced. You certainly don't want to give up a steal.
Right.
But yeah, you'll see them probably bail out early if they're in any kind of trouble here.
Exactly. So with the 5th rock being thrown here, anything that even offers up the whiff of a steal possibility, we're going to see that center guard go, I imagine.
I think even if it doesn't, you might see that center guard flying back in there to that group of rocks.
Caught a sliver of that center guard there, but that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good angle. They'll be fairly happy with that, although it does set up the drag on that width rock. They would have liked to have it curl a little bit more so that maybe didn't drag so hard, but pretty good result there for Team Carruthers.
I imagine the debate here is just, it's not over where they're taking the end, it's what's the best way to play defense here, right?
Yeah, that's it's hard to play defense in the 5-rock.
Yeah.
But because of that angle, like I was just saying, with that little bit of drag, it looks like they're going to make a play on this red rock, and probably their yellow is staying in there for sure. And they won't be able to kill both reds, but probably the back one at least. So then you're sitting 3 against 1 in the house. So even though they're all kind of in the middle and it's a center guard, it's still not a bad position for you to be in. Oh, he's throwing this pretty hard. Maybe he thinks he can get both reds. Oh dear. Not a terrible result, but needed that to curl any more at all, and they would have got both those reds out of there. So for Reid's going to try to have to unlock those 2 frozen rocks, because that's just way too juicy for Team Wipf. Your red rock is flying out of the back of there so fast, and it doesn't even matter where they hit it. So just going to try to unlock that freeze and set up a bit of a better angle, get a little bit to the low side or the inside of this rock, and tap those around a bit, and probably try to stay frozen, corner frozen on the yellow. But the biggest thing is to unlock that back red rock from that freeze that's there right now. Probably a little further than he wanted to roll, but not a bad result there for Derek.
I think they wanted just a little bit more separation there between the yellow and red when they unlocked it.
Yeah, he just hit it a little bit too thin. So if he hit a little bit more of it, it would have moved. It would have done both things. It would have left his shooter in a better place and moved the back one a little bit further. But yes, they would have liked to move that further, because it didn't really change this angle very much for this little sort of tap run that Team Wipf is going to play. Mission accomplished.
We're just nosing this to play both, or are they looking at something else? Maybe a little bit inside nose and...
Yeah, I think the big first thing is to make the double, but they're just talking about how hard to throw it, because the amount you can roll, because you have to hit it pretty close to nose to make the double. So the harder you throw it, the further you can roll if you want to roll far, but I'm not sure that they want to. I think somewhere close to the nose is not bad, maybe just a hair low. Although this is really tight ice, so maybe he's thinking he wants to roll bigger. Ooh. Not the result they wanted on that one. That was a little bit of a betwixt and between. If he hit that a little thinner and pushed his rock onto the yellow rock instead of out into the open, it would have been pretty good. But sure. I think the plan was to hit the first rock much thicker and just kind of make the double and roll in. So regardless, not a very good result for Team Carruthers, and opportunity here for Team Wipf, especially because, like we were saying before, that attempt to rearrange that freeze, the shooter rolling so far in behind that guard makes it now essentially a second guard, which could have been a good thing for Team Carruthers, given that they're the ones who are trying to junk up the middle, but not anymore. It's working in favor of Team Wipf now, although they really got to go to not. This is taken off like crazy.
Looks like it's being lost. Yeah, like it's... Will they get a piece of the red? Yeah, but...
I mean, it worked out not bad, but that was strange. I mean, they were sweeping it early, but it didn't look like they were panicked out of the hands. I'm not sure if that maybe fooled them a bit or maybe caught a little bit of debris or something, but regardless, it really curled.
Yeah. So we saw Reid looking there for a second just to try to get an idea of who was second shot. What do you think? What do you think he's gonna plan here? I mean, okay. Well, that was the one I was looking at. It looks like he's favoring the little petite roll off the one on the top four.
I don't really know what else you play besides that.
Yeah. So what do you think the discussion is about then? If we're kind of agreeing that there is only one shot idea, there may be, subtleties to it that you can...
I guess they're looking at potentially hitting the other one. I just don't see what's better about that, really. Although I guess if you do that, then it's hard for Wipf to spread them out enough that there isn't a double. I think Catlin's making a good point. He's saying if you hit this on the nose rather than roll under, if you nose it and then Wipf noses it, he won't be sitting 2. He'll only be sitting 1. So then he'll have to hit and roll off this wide one to sit 2, hit and roll buried, but then your rock is wide open and you can it's a short little run back. So I actually don't mind the nose. And if you happen to get a little bit low, that's probably okay too, but then he makes throws a double. He'll be able to see enough of it likely to make that, or hit and roll into the side of this one, and then they're spread out and it's a 2. If you just hit this on the nose, it's going to be really hard for him to get 2.
Yeah, it seemed like that's what Catlin was talking about, even from the other end of the ice to start with, because they were pointing to the nose of the yellow rock and saying that might be preferable to the roll.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's one of those ones where you always think you want to roll under, but in this case, I think it's worse for you if you do, unless you got all the way under. But I don't think they can get all the way under with how little space there is there.
Well, if that was the plan, then mission accomplished there.
Yep. I think think that was a smart call.
Yeah. As you were saying, and they seem to be discussing, it does make it very hard to see how you set something up here. The other yellow is always open. There's nowhere to. They're going to try to roll this one somewhere near that.
Yeah,
red.
if they make this roll absolutely perfect, they might be shot rock, but it's really hard. So, I mean, if he makes it perfect, then he still gets his 2, but it's never more than 2. So I think that was the right move. They're playing the double now, I think. Audible. Ooh. That works.
That works nicely. As you said, though, still never more than 2 here.
No. I think Reid's looking to see if he can get under with this, and I think he probably can, but you can't afford to play it too cute.
You have to make the hit first, of course. I mean, you get under, it's a great force rock and a potential steel rock, but really a great force rock, right?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think you can get all the way under. I think at most you're getting half under, so you're just trying to make his shot for 2 harder. Maybe he rolls out and you get a force out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to make sure you get by the red. That's the first priority.
Got a straight hit here.
Oh, they almost got it.
That's almost at least tucked the corner under.
Yeah, they tried. That's a smart way to play that, though. That's, you know, you couldn't afford to go super aggressive after that one. We're looking to see who's shot. If Reid is shot, if that red rock is shot, then I don't think you can nose it. If you're Kenan Wipf, I think you have to make a roll to the outside, and it gets to be pretty precise all of a sudden. So, if they're shot, it's actually a very good result.
A great shot, yeah. If it's Now, are they also looking at just coming around everything and trying to set up a potential deuce that way? No, they're looking at maybe playing something open, it looks like. I mean, they're looking at all these things. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, if only we had mics.
Yeah.
They're really not sure who's shot, and that makes a big difference to what you play.
Absolutely.
Looks like they're going to draw. The length of the discussion was partially how deep do you want this to do you want to put it, because if you go top 4, top button, then you're going to see Reid make that little angle run and you might have no shot. If you go back, you might see him throw a freeze, and then that could take it all away. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think on balance they went with looking at maybe back 8. Make him throw the freeze, give yourself room if you have to be forced, at least you know you have room to score.
Yeah. Kenan Wipf with his first shot with his fifth end. Lots of room on this one. Looks like it's maybe a little heavy. Oh, there it goes. Weight's coming off now.
Really dug in there in the slide path, huh?
Yeah, it sure did. Not a bad spot. They would have liked some more curl on that. Wanted it to be a little bit more buried, I think, but not a bad result. Probably does give Reid Carruthers the opportunity to get low on it if he wanted to. Now they're going to see if they can decide whose second shot here.
So with it open and available, we are definitely playing to remove the rock, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, there's no way we're playing anything soft here in this situation. Soft as in a freezer, yeah.
No, you're definitely killing the yellow always. It's just a matter of where you want to roll and how much weight you're going to throw and that kind of thing. I think both these teams are probably pretty glad that there are no time clocks in this game.
Yeah. I was looking at the clock and realizing we've been here a while. And it's,
yeah. I went to say fifth end. I was like, wait, is it only the fifth end? Pretty nice there from Reid. Can still make a play on it. Would have liked to roll that a little bit further, but pretty good shot.
And if Whip's not sure who's second, you definitely are going to try to move that rock at least, because
I think so. If you think you're going to measure it, you just move it out of there. And if you measure, you measure. But yeah, I don't think you ever just throw the draw, because then you'll never know if you were second, and if you were, you would kick yourself. Big shot here for Kenan. Looks close. Throwing it now. I think he's good. Okay, so one for sure. I imagine we're about to see a measuring stick come out.
Yeah.
Where's our on-ice cameraman for this? Yeah, we need to be able to see that dial on the top. Especially because the players don't always cooperate. Like the official always gives you the gesture or kicks the rock
Right.
in or something, so you always know. The players don't necessarily. Oh, Kai did it for us. Good job, bud.
All right, well, another big deuce.
Yeah, the streak
The
continues.
Streak continues.
100% conversion rates all over. That'll be the end.
Gripper first.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it. Yellow.
Come on. Okay, really well. What do you got? You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Welcome back to the shootout from the Saville Community Sports Centre in Edmonton. I'm Chelsea Carey along with Ed Scimia, and our conversion rate has remained 100% for both teams. There's been nothing but deuces. Trading of deuces the whole game, so it's sort of starting to feel like whoever blinks first is going to not come out on top of this one. It's been quite a fun game to watch. Lots of rocks in play, lots of great shots.
Yeah, and as we've seen, of course, every even end is played out the same way because, with Wipf taking the 2-point lead, it's kind of forced Carruthers to play pretty aggressively with the hammer the entire game.
Absolutely. Interesting change in strategy here, though. This is the first time we've seen Kenan Wipf throw two in instead of throwing the guard on the second one.
Yeah, definitely. Which I think I asked about one of the other ends if they would ever consider that. Maybe now later in the game, with the 2-point lead, playing a little more conservatively, not even putting up that sort of threatening guard that forces play to the center a little bit.
Yeah, and interesting too here now that instead of going around his first corner guard, Reid's chosen to throw a second one. So both teams going a little more extreme with their strategies, I would say.
Yes.
More defensive on the Wipf side and more aggressive on the Carruthers side. We have a couple finals we can tell you about. Team Cooey taking the win over Team Dunbar in 6 ends, 8-2. And your American compatriots, Ed, Chase Sinnett with the win over local team, University of Alberta Golden Bears, Johnson Tow.
Well done, Chase. I've played Chase a few times up in the Northeast. He's from nearby Massachusetts, from the Broomstones Curling Club. So that guard is another consequence of the 5 rock rule. We're talking about nothing better to do. I can't feel anything. Might as well guard my rocks.
Absolutely, yeah. You just sort of have to force the issue of you pile up a couple in the good rocks in the forefoot. Unfortunately for them, you sort of want to do those two in the opposite order. You want the first one full 4 so that you can stack them perfectly on top of each other, rather than that little bit of stagger that they have. But yeah, once you get 2 stacked in there nicely, then when they throw 2 corner guards, what else are you going to do? You may as well just guard it and say, okay, fine. Well, you better make your run back double before anything around your corner guards is going to matter, right? That was pretty much what they called. Didn't want to remove that second yellow, wanted to leave it back there, ideally behind a corner guard, which it is. For some backing, maybe get a jam, maybe can freeze to it later. All rocks in play right now are friends of Team Carruthers.
Absolutely.
What an absolutely beautiful shot. You know, I talked about it earlier, sort of being the younger team and the underdog and playing guys who, you know, you probably watched growing up, maybe idolized growing up. They sure haven't shown it. They're cool as cucumbers. They're making everything. It's been really impressive to watch them.
No, they're playing like they belong there, which is how they should play, but it's not easy to do that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
these kind of teams. Yeah.
And they do belong there, but your head gets in your way sometimes, you know, when you're in that situation. And yeah, they just haven't shown it at all. And I've always been impressed with them, but they've handled themselves very well this game, and they've made an awful lot of shots.
Just a single peel there.
Yeah, I was trying the run back, but not quite, but did roll to a corner, so not a bad result there either. And this is one of those ones where, in theory, the shot now is to peel a corner guard, but there's so many corner guards that isn't going to help you if you peel a single one of them, because there's still going to be 2 left. So you almost have to revert back to, okay, well, I guess we'll just keep guarding our 2 rocks that are set up really well in the middle here.
Right.
This is coming in maybe a little deeper, but they need it to curl, so trying to get that finish. Definitely not. They needed that A, a little bit longer, and B, a little bit further over. You wanted to at least split center with that. There you're going to see Reid he could potentially make a sort of a double. Like, you don't need to kill the yellows, but you could throw a sort of a quiet weight, move them both around behind the T line over there, and roll yourself behind your corner guard would be a really good result here for Catlin.
Oh,
dear.
just caught the guard.
Yeah, they were on that right out of his hand, so maybe just a hair tight or a little soft on release, and unfortunately Derek couldn't hold it for them. That's a big miss.
Yeah, now instead of an opportunity to play a shot that leaves you with something under the corner guard, you're just trying to clear up the center a bit and give yourself an out in the end.
Yeah, now you're in trouble to score.
Yeah.
Never mind 2, you're in a bit of trouble to score 1. So huge swing there of momentum. So for Kenan here, going to try to come in. You don't need to be very deep in the house here. Even just top 12 is okay. It's mostly about choking off that, is what Reid would be eyeing up if you don't throw right now. He could get to it, but if you don't hook a piece of this in around that red guard, then he's probably running that guard back onto shot rock. So you want this to be basically a guard, but tight enough to the house that you can get a little edge tucked in behind that red so that he can't run it back onto shot stone there. They seem to like it. Needs to curl a little bit. It's running like it might be a touch heavy. I don't know, it's pretty close. Yep.
It doesn't really matter if it's touching or not. It'll be nice, but
that
should do the job.
Yeah,
no.
Very nice shot. Just buried enough that Reid can't run it back.
Yep. Yeah, takes away both potential. Doesn't create a new one, I should say, while taking away the other one. Yeah. So now we're looking at angles.
If you want to get 2, you may as well throw this now, because if you don't make it now, like if you're throwing it on your last shot, it's only for 1. So if you make it now, you might have a chance at 2. And if you don't score here, you're probably not winning this game. So it's a bit of an all-in situation here for Reid, I think. So I don't mind this call.
Yeah, the shot sequencing is important here, because if you don't throw this first, what are you throwing now? Whereas if you make this and you get a miss, you are going to just likely have a draw or an open hit for your 2 if you get the miss. If you don't throw this now, I don't see any other way to realistically play for 2.
No, even and if you don't make, like, you could throw a run combo thing on the middle rocks there, but if you don't make noise on shot stone, then you're still probably not going to be able to score. So why not play, like, this is the only way you ever get 2, and everything else might not even leave you a shot for one. If you had an easy shot to make sure you had a shot for one, you might throw it at this point, but you don't.
Sure.
So you may as well go for broke with this little angle runner here for Reid. It's close.
I like it.
Oh, what a great shot.
That's a pistol.
Yeah, that sure is. Huge shot there from Reid. That's a game saver.
And just the way the center guards are staggered, I don't think you can play, and they're not even looking at playing at anything running back. The same thing they did to make sure there wasn't a run back now leaves that Red Rock very well protected.
Yeah,
but,
the
they
good
can
news.
throw around everything.
Yeah, the good news is that that red guard being so far out to the left side as we look at it, it gives you lots of room to get, and Reid's shot's not even full 4 foot, so leaves Kenan lots of room to be fully buried here on shot rock, and it'll leave Reid a tricky shot for 2. So. This is a big one. This is you had him dead to rights, and then your opponent makes a shot like that. You got to step up and make one right back to keep the momentum on your side. Very good spot. They, I think they thought that might finish a little bit harder for them,
Yeah.
but it is fully buried. I think it's probably there for Reid, but it's not easy. So mission accomplished there for Kenan. If Reid makes this for 2, then he's certainly earned it. It's the ultimate skipper's deuce when your first one is a 15-foot angle run back.
Yeah. I was going to say it looked like they did want it to get a little bit more buried, or they, like as you said, thought a little more finish, but a tough shot for 2. I mean, it's definitely you can get to the yellow rock. Making it for 2 it's not simple.
I think they have enough curl here that you only got to move it kind of 3 feet, but the idea was just to put some pressure on him and at least make him throw something hard for a second point. So that's what they did, and we'll see what he can do here. Again, this is, I don't want to commentators jinx him, but Reid loves these little. He's such a good feel player. He's very good at these kind of shots. Connor's saying the weight's a little bit big, so he's going to try to make it curl here. Really got to curl it. Really got to curl it. I think he's okay.
It's close. I think they're okay if they don't get too much roll. Yeah.
Great shot. Great deuce. Reid Carruthers all by himself on that one. So once again, it didn't look like it was going to, but the conversion perfection lives on, and we'll be tied going to 7. Team Wipf will have the hammer.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind. From pre-seed to post-harvest, you can count on the Victory Canola program to
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community, And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We are back, and we're still waiting for the first end that doesn't result in a deuce. It's been a great game between Team Carruthers and Team Wipf. Tied, playing 7, and it'll be Team Wipf with the hammer.
And it is not as though the teams without hammer haven't been trying here. They've left some really tough problems for the opposing skip to solve in like 3 or 4 of the 6 ends, and they've just made the shots every time.
Yeah, it's been a treat. It's been great shot making on both sides. It's been lots of rocks in play. It's everything you could ask for on a Saturday night. So the same start to the end that we've seen, except for this one is unfortunately for Max Cinnamon is going to slide a little bit deep. For Team Carruthers, we'll be looking for anyone to score 1 here. They don't really care much who it is. And for Team Wipf, we'll want anything but that. They want either a deuce or a blank. So tied playing 7 is always such an interesting situation because everyone's mission is very clear, but the team with the hammer has more choices to make. The team without the hammer is especially early on, they know exactly what they're playing. They're going basically all out steal, and if it turns into a force, it's great. With the other team, because you're back and forth between that blank and the deuce, but you really don't want to get forced, so then how aggressive do you go for the deuce? But then you can't you don't want to give up the steal, but is that any worse than being forced? There's just so many things to consider. It's one of my favorite situations to kind of discuss, and what would my strategy be? What would you play on this shot? Because there's just so much to think about.
Absolutely, and then the kind of your calculus can change from shot to shot so much just based on what you think the opportunities and risks are. Especially as you get into like the middle part of the end, it's always a fun one to be skipping at this point and having a lot to think about and feeling like your decisions really matter. But it's not always, as you said, especially with the hammer, what you should be doing is not always 100% clear.
Well, and then sometimes it
plays out.
Yeah, and sometimes it even gets interesting at the end. Once somebody is getting 1, then the team with the hammer usually gets to decide who that is. And you might actually, some teams might prefer to give up a steal. And you would know your own team stats on that, and you would know the general stats on that. And I'm not sure what they are. I think they're closer. In women's curling, you want to be winning. You want to be 1 up without. The odds are better in general. Obviously, every team would have their own individual stats, but in general, the team that is 1 up without wins more often than the team that's 1 down with. But I'm not sure. I think it's at least closer in men's curling than it is in women's. So, but these teams would know that what their own stats are and what the general stats are. So at some point, it becomes more. If you know you as a team do very well being 1 down with, then you want to be 1 down with. So then it sometimes gets interesting at the end for the team with the hammer to make that decision. Like, do we want to score or do we want to give them 1?
Yeah, absolutely. Last I checked, even in the 5 rock era, up 1 was still an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's better in
a much smaller advantage.
Yeah, I think it's better in both. But
side.
yeah, I think it's better in both. But if it's closer in the men's, that's what I remember seeing as well. So, and it's not a ton better in the women's, but it's definitely better. So, yeah, it's just always one of those things. It's a great situation from a fan standpoint. It's a stressful situation as a player.
Yeah.
This one really curling. Connor trying to get it by. I think it's going to just rub.
And of course, when we say those stats, we're talking about at the elite level and to a lesser extent, like the tour level in general. And then I've always advised the club level, probably just better to be up the point.
Oh yeah. I always tell people when I coach club stuff, when you have a chance to score, score. You shouldn't be blanking ends.
Yeah.
Don't blank any ends. If you have, because the next end you might not have a chance to score 1. So if you have a chance to score 1 now, take your point. But yeah, when I say that, I'm talking about the top level stuff. But yeah, it's I wouldn't advise that strategy at the club. You don't generally want to try to give up a steal at club level curling. It's not usually a good idea. Oh, that's a big... Sticking over in the wing there is huge for Team Wipf. If you roll out on that, it changes the whole end. That sticking over there makes Reid's life a little miserable right now.
Yeah, even if you make this double or at some point make that double, you are still risking giving up 2 now because that rock's going to be sitting out there just waiting to count at some point if you can't completely clear out the house, which... Looks like he did make the double there.
Oh dear.
Again, gotta hang on, but even if you do hang on now, there's just a...
Yeah, that's not
remove both. Yeah,
not what they would have wanted. But if Reid makes the double, at least it's like the blank is still looking pretty good. So not a horrible result, but not ideal. Would have liked to keep those separated for a little while longer. Now the really big thing becomes when he makes this double, assuming he does, then
stick around.
You better not roll out, yeah.
You got to keep some tension in the end. You can't just,
Well, and then Reid loops around the center. You might be forced.
Right.
So it becomes the most nerve-wracking open hit and stick of your life when you're trying to do stuff like that. Seems like such a simple shot, and you're sitting in the hack all nervous.
Heck of an effort. It is available though.
Oh, I don't think they were trying to roll Barry. They were just trying to stick.
Stick. Okay. Yeah.
They actually would prefer to have stayed out on the wing, I think.
Right. Actually, yeah. What am I saying? I don't know. If I wasn't, of course, with Hammer here, there's no reason you don't want to leave something.
No, it's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
You really wanted to stick, but you didn't really want to stick partially buried.
Yep.
Looking for the freeze here for Cailey. Close. The sweepers seem to like the weight. They're just trying to manage the line. Well, stopped a little short on them, but a pretty good result there.
Yeah, still pretty effective. This makes this a much more of a testing shot to get rid of this. And they are throwing, I think you said, just hack weight, looks like.
going to get across it like they want to, so plan B here a little bit. It's not terrible either. There's not a lot of room for Reid to punch that out and not kill his own.
No. He's certainly looking at the possibility. Do you just potentially throw another freeze instead? If you're willing to throw the freeze last time.
Well, but the problem with the freeze now is it sandwiches it. If you don't kill that back red, then you might bring 2 into play that way. I think.
Sure.
I think you don't need to throw it like heavyweight, but I think if you're going to move it, you probably want to kill, or at least move your red out of the way, like
So
a bit more separation. Yeah.
You can keep the yellow as a backer, but don't leave the red as a backer again from their rock. Sure.
Right. Yeah, you just don't want to sandwich that yellow, I don't think.
Yeah, doesn't have to be a. Well, we got left with the sandwich. To some extent.
Like that's what he was calling. I'm surprised by that. I think if it was me, I would have wanted to move that back red a little further at least, but he made it pretty well. But I still wonder if he could sit 2. Throw this pretty hard and hit it 7/8 or so, 3/4. And I think both the reds go flying and your shooter probably sticks somewhere over on the edge of the 8-foot. Oh, they overcarved it a little bit.
Yeah, left them 1-3, but I imagine. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Reid would try to go after both, but he could also play what they're looking at now, which is the little hit and roll under, sit 2 behind the off center guard.
Yeah, I think if you make the double, you probably would see Kenan Wipf try the double for the blank.
Double back.
Yeah, and to blanket, because if he gives up a steal of 1, that's not that much worse than being forced. And if he gets a blank, it's ideal. So I think that's why they're probably looking at the hit and roll, because that's the only way they're for sure getting a force out of it. But on the other hand, if you don't make the hit and roll perfect, then you might leave him a double for 2. So.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like double ice to me, though. Oh no.
Oh. We just need to move that about a foot for y'all to get to. I believe this is Wipf's hammer coming up now.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
That rock is fully buried, but we've seen this spot curl, so definitely there, similar to the shot that we saw Reid throw in the second end for his 2 points around the corner guard. Just had to move it a little bit, and it was also pretty much fully buried, but you'll get some finish past that guard, and because you're throwing it pretty quiet, you don't have to move it very far, and the carve is quite effective. You'll be able to get it going at the end if you need to, so not easy, but definitely there.
To keep the streak alive.
The pressure's on. For more reasons than one.
Yes, yeah. You might say this is a big shot regardless of any.
Yeah, it's probably a big shot for
play,
wanting to win the game, but it's also really important to keep the streak alive.
Exactly.
Hit it for line a little bit out of his hand, and now they're trying to get it to curl. It really needs to curl. Really needs to curl.
Only get a piece, you probably just get one, but
No,
they're good.
it's okay, just enough.
They're good.
Wow, what a turnaround. Well, the streak stays alive, and it'll be a 2-point lead for Team Wipf coming home. Team Carruthers will have the hammer.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back to the 8th end of the continuation of the All Deuces match between Reid Carruthers and Kenan Wipf. It is Team Wipf with a 2-point lead. Team Carruthers looking to generate the 3. I'm Chelsea Carey. I'm here with Ed Scimia. And not surprisingly, we're going to see the start of this end play out the same as we've seen the last couple for Team Wipf. 2 rocks in the house. And for Team Carruthers, I imagine you'll see a second corner guard come after this one.
And yeah, I have to imagine we're going to see a second corner guard. Being, eighth end, having to play for 3, you're going to take your chances here, but maybe not. Maybe they are playing. Oh no,
this is guard ice.
Flying for a guard. Yeah, I was going to say.
No, yeah, you have to throw 2 guards now because it's not just
absolutely.
it's not just a 2 you're after. You're trying for 3. So
yeah.
well made by Connor, almost perfectly even. No, not much choice for Team Wipf but to throw a center guard on that stack of yellow rocks in the middle.
Reid looking to play something soft off the top rock in the house, although his teammates may be trying to talk him into coming right down to that one on the forefoot. It looks like he's changed to that.
Yeah, I like this. I think this is the better call. It's just a bit tricky to get there with that corner guard. It's
exactly.
The way it finishes in here, this is not an easy shot, but I do think it's the better result of the 2. Because the problem is you can't roll out and you can't see that much of the back one. You don't have a lot of room past the top one to get to the back one, so it's not going to finish past that top 8-foot rock. So just really tough, I think, to make a play with any kind of weight. If you could just block a freeze in here, then that gives you a chance later. This is looking really good. Oh, they plan B'd that, but that's a pretty good result as well.
It is close to frozen to one of the rocks.
That's the right line. Like, if that had 3 feet more weight, then I think that line is perfect.
Yeah.
And again, at this point in the game, I know I mentioned it earlier, and we haven't really seen it. I haven't been timing anything, but you wonder if it's maybe starting to fudge up just that little bit. They both teams practice before the game, and then with these kinds of sweepers for this, for 8 full ends and everything, it's pretty normal for it to start to fudge up in the middle a little bit, which can then mean it's a bit slower. So could be that, could just be that Derek was a little bit light out of his hands, but a good result regardless. So now peeling corners.
Yeah, and they were looking at the possibility of coming off this peel and getting the one in the house, and they might get it.
Sure. Oh, what a great shot.
Beauty.
They really haven't missed a beat this Wipf team. They're making everything.
This is the first time I've seen them play, and it's a very impressive performance. They have, every end they seem like they've executed well. Even with Carruthers taking the deuces in 2, 4, and 6, they did not make it easy. I mean, Reid had to make some great shots to stay in the game.
Absolutely. Reid's made some pistols, or the game would probably be over by now. I mean, the deuce that they got in 6 was 2 absolute piss cutters from Reid, like great shots. So it's been all momentum whip for sure, and Reid's made some good ones to keep him in it. Catlin made a couple good ones early to keep it as close as it is. But very impressive by this young team. They're playing extremely well. And it's not even that Reid's team's played poorly. They've had kind of one miss and end that every time they've done that, Team Wipf has taken advantage of it.
Yeah, and he's a few times being, as you said, on the wrong side of the inch. And
like close, but not.
Yeah.
Not big misses. They feather one guard, and then after that, Team Wipf doesn't miss. Well, that means a 2. Once somebody feathers a guard, then as long as you don't miss after that, you're probably getting 2. So it's really impressive performance. I'm going to talk about this one here. It's an interesting situation with that kind of corner frozen, but you could definitely kill that red rock if you wanted to. but you're also going to kill your yellow with it. So is that good or bad kind of thing? We have a timeout here.
Yeah. They were looking at a couple different ideas, but they didn't exactly look incredibly confident about any of them. And here comes their coach.
That is Lainey Peters, multiple-time Canadian champion, many-time Canadian champion actually.
Mm-hmm. So what would you be looking at here, Chelsea? I mean, I'm just looking from my perspective, which is high-end club to low-end tour in that range. I mean, I'd try to blast that red out of there, but they had this other creative idea, I know, of perhaps trying to peel the corner guard and even rolling.
Yeah, I kind of like peeling the corner guard because the way that angle is right now isn't bad for Team Wipf. It's not great for Team Carruthers. The only thing that helps them is that they could play a little chisel and roll their shooter behind the corner. So just get rid of the corner.
Right.
Because if you make a play on the middle, you're losing your shooter in all likelihood. So you just peel everything out of there. Now Reid has full access to that back rock. He can freeze it. He can tap it. It just makes it a little bit trickier. Right now, Reid has work to do in the middle. So I like leaving it alone. I think you're just going to make it easier, his life easier by making a play. You almost do it for him. So I like this. I would be playing, and I don't even think it matters if you touch anything. I would rather not touch anything in the house, quite frankly.
No, absolutely not.
It's not even the worst if you just hit and roll to the center line on this.
That's what I was saying, is that what they were looking at, and I kind of like that idea when I saw their front end come up and first suggest that just this idea of, you're going to play the, and if it's a straight peel, that's fine, but the idea of just making it even harder for
it's really hard to get three. Yeah, it's really hard to get three with no corner guards, right? So especially when yellow is currently sitting 2. So I think that this is a smart call.
Yeah, they got the straight peel rather than the,
Yep. Looks like we have a final on the sheet beside us. I believe that was Team Kleider taking the win over Team Jakes. Now if you're Reid and company, you have to make a play on this red rock of some kind because you need to unlock that freeze. They're just talking about how much weight to throw and how far they want to roll the shooter and all that kind of stuff because I don't think you have a choice but to kind of at least move around that red-yellow situation that's there because that being locked on the corner is only hurting you right now. So I'm guessing this is like a probably back house, back 8, back 12 kind of weight and try to move that yellow rock out into the open. Leave your middle, the red that's there right now, basically right there, and roll your shooter as far away as you probably can. It's close.
Maybe a little quiet to get as much roll as you want, but it's not.
It's not bad, at least it gives you a little bit of room.
Yeah, and Oh, you might be able to, if you really wanted to try to get both reds. I think there's a little danger in trying that, but
I don't think
it
there's
should be
much.
there.
As long as you hit the
No, I
rock
think
on
it
the
should be
center
there.
line first, there's no danger.
Yeah, I think you'd have to hit it super thin to have on the other yellow at all. Though.
Oh yeah, I don't think you. I don't even think you can hit it thin enough to do that. Almost right out of his hand. It's curling big time.
Ooh, just got
Oh,
5
great
points
sweep.
double.
Great
Yep.
sweep.
That yellow rock. Good.
So looking for a freeze now. From Cailey, you're probably not. I think your dream of 3 has kind of gone out the window here. You're just trying to set up a 2 unless you get a major miss or a pick or something from on Kenan.
Right.
But make a good freeze here, and you're still looking okay for a 2.
Yeah, really nowhere else to go to play for 2 right now either, right?
No, this is the only option.
That's all you
yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, which is again why I went back to the call of Team Wipf to peel that corner guard. That's why I like that.
Oh yeah.
It forces Reid into the middle, and it just shrinks your scoring area so much. It makes it hard to get multiple points. Perfect line on that one, just a little bit short. Again, I wonder if the speed is maybe coming off on them a bit. Pretty sportsmanlike there of Derek. He just pointed out to Kenan that there was something on the ice. Didn't have to do that. Kind of would have liked his rock to pick probably, but it's usually most of the time that's who we are as curlers.
Yeah.
Help the other guy out.
Prefer not to lose, but prefer not to win that way. If you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the difference, right? Like you want to win, but nobody wants to
Exactly.
win like that. So.
Get this out of there.
Not quite.
Nobody
but-
moved it to 4th rock.
Yeah, it's good enough. It is effectively out for all intents and purposes right now. That was a little scary. That was a holding your breath one for all of Team Wipf, I would think, but especially for the person who threw it. Usually is the most stressed about it. Not sure what the call is here. Maybe trying to roll under and
It's what it looked like the way they were talking in the house, but I mean, no matter what you do, it's going to be difficult to generate even your deuce here. So I understand it's.
yeah. Well, and I think like the first thought is to throw the freeze again, but if you play the freeze, they're just going to guard it. They don't have to
Yep.
make a play, and they guard it, and you
Exactly.
can't. Like you're running their rock in, so this way, because your rock is going to be second shot and kind of underneath the guards, maybe you have some sort of combo on the like a long double run back or something,
Yeah.
and bring that winger, that little biter into play.
Yeah. If they ever say straight, they wouldn't, I don't think. Straight guarded there. Shot rock, you would have that triple run maybe. There's something
Maybe.
there.
The only problem
is
jam. I think it might
Right,
jam
yeah, I think
on
it might on the second yellow might just come right into your red, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's, I mean, you're desperate at that point.
Of course.
So I think that's what he was hoping for, like roll in there and pray that you have some kind of howitzer to pull off a miracle.
We were talking before about the length of time the game's been going on for, and we're close in around 2:45 now for an 8-end game. But from what I've seen, and we always say at my club or any club talk so much about pace of play, and the slowest games I've seen in my limited tour experience are when you get two top teams without a clock. In a big game in a tour event where there's not timing, but it's not because they play slow. It's just that these games are so important, and they get themselves into these very complex strategic positions where they think and they want to take the game seriously. So.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it is because the game is slow, but this has been a complicated
It is
game,
slow,
so
yes.
I can understand
Yeah.
it. But at the same time, both of these teams are going to play in an event where there's a time clock, and it might be this complicated, but you would have to go faster.
But then, yes,
So-
then it forces you to play at pace. Yeah.
Yeah, they should still be playing faster than this. They've taken full advantage of the lack of time clocks. But,
Yes.
but it's been so much fun to watch that it's hard to be mad.
Yeah. Perhaps that's my point, that they will take full advantage of the fact that there's not a clock.
Well, and the nice thing is, the only good news is that there's no draw coming on after this, so at least they're not holding up. That's where it gets frustrating, is if this happens early in the day and then all the draws are behind because of it. But in this case, it's the last draw of the day, and they did start on time, so they weren't running behind coming in. So it's at least not affecting anybody else, and in the meantime, it's been lots of entertainment for us, so that's good. Looks like they've decided to just throw a guard on this. That was the call, so...
Yep, so they're leaving this because this is just they didn't see anything better than taking that away and leaving this if Reid can make one more shot to keep his team in the game, and this would probably be the best of them all. I mean, it would be the best of them all.
It's not terribly far off a nose hit. It's just, I mean, you have to throw it anyway and hope it doesn't jam, but I think it's always going to jam on the side there.
And this just looks like it's not going to move enough.
Yeah, just a little set from Reid there and no dice, but that probably wasn't there anyway. So heck of a game from young team Kenan Wipf, taking down the undefeated Reid Carruthers and probably keeping their chances at the playoffs alive because they came into that game 1-2. So they moved to 2-2. Thanks everyone for joining us. That was a highly entertaining game. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and have a great night. Tune back in tomorrow for some more curling from the Saville Centre in Edmonton.
Good night, everyone.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.